1.47 smash. That's a driver. Oh, I'm gonna stop that. All right, welcome back to Amateur Hour Golf. The beautiful JPX 923 Hot Metal. Look at this bad boy. Brand new. Gonna test it out. It looks actually gorgeous. I actually had the old ones, I think about 4 years ago, and those things just hit really hard. I'm interested to see what this recommendation is gonna do, but if you look at it, it's not too heavy. For what it looks like it's supposed to be. It looks like it really is, but it really doesn't feel heavy. It's a gorgeous club. Absolutely gorgeous, I might add myself. But I'm interested to see distances. I'm hitting a 7-iron. I'm gonna take about 15, 20 shots with this, and then we will go from there. But this is just gonna be a hard take on what my thought process on JPX 923 is going to look like, and then we'll go from there. So stay tuned, and next time you see me, I'll be hitting into the bend. All right, so not much talking this time. We're gonna go right to hitting about 15 to 20 shots. We're gonna get a good average distance. Got the spin rate over there as well. I wanna make sure you're seeing every single shot. Gonna take a little pause in between every single shot. 7-iron I'm hitting. I expect this to probably go between about 180 to about 190, hopefully, and just want to see the feel of this. So let's start it off. Here we go. Flush. Wow. That's a good start. Fantastic start. That is a different feel. We'll talk about feels after it, but that feels very different than other clubs. Smooth again. Beautiful ball play. Paradise is fantastic. 186, 187, spin rates. Good, I'm catching that really well. Really well. Well, that's going again. All good balls. Got my draw. I'm hitting this pretty flush, and these things are exploding. I'm not putting too much into this. May have yanked that, but still caught that. Yep. Still a big distance. Still got my draw. Everything feeling very good so far. Club is very impressive. I smoked that one. That ball came off hard. 204 total, 194 carry. Smash factor. A 1.47 smash factor. That's a driver. Oh, I'm gonna stop that. So that caught my attention. The 1.47 smash factor. That's where a driver normally is. Holy crap. So yeah, I guess it says it in the name. It comes off very hot. It is the JPX Hot Metal. But this number just indicated to me we're going to talk about that when I get home. That is very impressive. Not because of me, but that's on the play. Somewhat me. Come on, somewhat me. My swing's not that bad. But somewhat me, that's a lot on the club too. That's very impressive. Smoked. Another good draw. 143 in the smash factor. 186. Oh, Christ, man. So My next video will be on clubs. My new pair of irons. I don't think I will have to hit these. They're already going to be. They're going to be definitely in the field. I feel fantastic looking at these. I don't say that about. I can't believe like Mizuno has really stepped up their game. These are really, really good. These feel really good. Hit you. 142 smash factor, 208 total, 196 carry. I am lighting this club up right now. Can't fake that. That smash factor is unbelievably high.
Yeah,
these things are rocking off. The smash factor on this is almost as good as a driver.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Bought that then. Let's see how that comes out. That was my first miss hit. Yeah, still a great order. 177 on the carry, 189 on the total. Smash factor a little low. Actually, not even low. It's kind of normal on other irons. Ball speed 121 comparatively to about 120 when I've been hitting averaging. Looks pretty good so far. That's the first miss hit with this. Club is pretty forgiving too. Smoked. Ball speed should be around 129. Tucked it out middle, but drew it back. Smash factor 1.41. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Apex at 110. Oh yeah. Definitely feeling it with these. Definitely feeling it. We're gonna have a lot of good objective data to go off of. That was destroyed. 188, 195. Okay, so very impressive with these so far. When you hit it, I don't know how to explain it, but when I hit it anywhere towards the middle, it feels like butter. It's like a butter feeling. Like it feels so good hitting the club face. I have a big smile on my face because I didn't think this may end up in my bag by the end of my swing videos, but this may end up in my bag when I do a comparative analysis to other irons, because I am looking to change it up. But I mean, I'm gonna hit a few more. I don't have to really shoot too much. I have a lot of shots already taken. Take about 3 or 4 more. Ball speed 132. Oh my lord. So that's a 7-iron carry, 195 force, smash factor 144, total 204, and I caught that. I know I didn't catch that center. I caught that little right of center. So this thing is absolutely exploding right now. Go right, and I hope it does. I want to see a bad hit. It didn't. It drove it again. Oh my god. I thought I completely mishit that. And it's right down the center, so forgiveness. Very good on this. I cannot wait to send these statistics back to my email and then look and take a look at this. This is amazing. .7 ball speed, and left it out right, drew it back. Ooh, it didn't, it stayed this time. Okay, good. So that's going to be kind of my first time not aiming there, but again, these are really good numbers. So, you have to take a little break, Just take about 15, 20 swings in a row, and then I'm going to come back with the final analysis on how I feel about the club in general, and then we're going to go back and look at the data and see what this is actually telling us. And again, this is a 7-iron JPX Hot Metal 923. Back. We're going to hit the JPX 923 Hot Metal HL for the higher loft. And actually, it's really cool about this, and I had a shirt change. I actually swung the other JPX the other day, had a little tweak in the back. Didn't want to force the swing, but feeling better today. But if you look at this club, it actually shows the launch angle, or the angle. It's at 31 and a half. So it's going to get a lot more high. I'm interested to see what the arc is going to be with my draw. Also to see the distance. The club looks gorgeous. Look at this. This is stunning. Mizuno never lets down for any of their clubs. Their clubs are always top notch. It looks. When I looked over the JPX Hot Metal regular the other day, I was just absolutely tattooing that club. I'm really excited to hit this in the pro today. So, other than that, we're going to go right directly to hits. I'm not going to talk too much. I want to get more at this, go home and get the numbers, but very, very pretty club. Mizuno just doing it right. Stay tuned. All right. I'm already laughing. I'm about to hit my second shot. I hit my first shot. I was just warming up. The apex, the launch angle on these irons are insane. So let's just go right to the second shot. That's such a good looking fish. I know it went a little left to my draw, but that's such a good height. That's going to solve a lot of amateur golfer problems. This is a really good club. Oh my lord. These feel so pure off the face. These feel so good. These feel so good. Oh, that's beautiful. That's not a nice little drop. A little bit. But look at the angle. 7-iron's getting so much height. So much height. These also are flying off really well. Not even hitting that well either. Snag factor's low. Oh my god, that's actually fantastic. These are slightly mishits too, my add. They're a little off. Feel very in control of these clubs. Oh yeah. It's a 7-iron. It's just going off the screen. I love it. Absolutely love it. That here. Yep. We'll draw it. We'll feel that. Yep. Oh yeah. Carry pedals are good. Averaging between about 172 to about 180. It's about right for me on a 7-iron. Not trying to kill this. It's just naturally getting up that high. and then we will take it up. But these are coming off pure now. Down squat here, side shot 142. Wow. It's a 197. Oh Christ. Okay, so we're gonna stop it here. This smash factor is almost as good as how fast it's coming off my driver. That's how good these clubs are. If you actually go through and understand these numbers, that smash factor is almost as good as my driver, how fast it's coming off. Club speed is 89, not that fast, normal swing. Carries 189 on the 7 iron. Apex is 117. These are fantastic numbers. Mizuno's done it. You always sit there with Mizuno, it's like, how are they going to come out with another good club? And here we are. Mizuno never fails me. That's been. I mentioned that. Another big shot, I wouldn't say that. So how's my draw? I'm not upset about that. Let's get one more, and then we'll go to the pros.
Reds, I got it now.
Yeah, go up.
Oh, pure. Just absolutely pure. I've seen enough. I have seen enough. This club is... So, as an amateur golfer, I can see this helping a lot to get the soft hits on the green while aiming at it. I can only imagine what, I'm hitting a 7, you put a pitching wedge up there, a 9 iron, 8 iron, you're gonna get a lot of advantages going in. Of course, you're gonna play with the wind a little bit, but like I said, for amateur players that have a hard time getting the ball in the air, I mean, I wanna, we're getting high swings, high apex with a 7 iron, which is fantastic. There's one swing that went off to about 128 and I put it about 185. So irons are hitting fantastic. We're gonna go to the pros. All right, my buddy just handed me the Hot Metal JPX 923 Pros. First thing I immediately see, they're much thinner. Much thinner. If you look at all the angles right here, it looks like there's definitely probably a few millimeters off the back if I'm looking at it just from the naked eye. They have a little, it looks like it has a little black, a little different than the other ones. It has a little black cover on the back. If you look here, that's really, really good design. I like the color. The one thing that's interesting that I'm interested for cleaning purposes, there's slightly, there's an opening down here. That would be my only issue with the JPX. It looks like you can get some dirt in there. So from cleanability, that's really it. But I mean, this thing looks beautiful. So very interested to see what the Pro version hits. And then give you the numbers and we'll go back to the house and go over the numbers. All right, so we are gonna go first swing, or second swing. I already practiced and tested this out. Let's see what comes on the numbers now. Didn't catch it all. Still, a little fade on that. The kind of shot I wanted to play there. Still carried 174, which is actually really good on the miss hit. Smash factor is 1.37 on the miss hit, which I'm pretty impressed with. Club speed, exactly what I'm normally at, about 89, 89.5, 90 around there. Now we can strike, yep. Nice. Oh, I'm playing my fade today. Feels good. Even though it is more of a, I would say, a lower handicap club, I mean, it's still pretty good. I'm interested to see what it's going to feel on a miss hit. I don't want to miss hit anything on purpose, but I do want to give accurate data back to everybody here. still, my club speed is down to 88, and my carry is still 182. It's not talking about. So I mean, this club rips. You know, there's nothing really else to say. This club is absolutely rips. Could this end up in my bag? Maybe. That was a miss it. I'm sure it does. Interesting. Very interesting, Mizuno. For missing, that's not bad at all. Still stay straight. Top speed is exactly where I wanted it. I'm trying to play my draw now here. We should get a nice little draw. Good. Total. Alright, so that's going to be a little faster, but I hit that very hard. When I carry. When it hits. Can't say anything real bad. I mean, that's. I'm trying to be a little more straighter now. With the draw. I try to overcommit here. There it is. And, so, I want to be very honest. So, the impressive thing about that swing, and this, I want to go over this really fast. So, my club speed can reach between about 89.5 and 90. That smash factor was not above 1.4. My carry is probably one of my better carries. Alright, just finished hitting the Hot Metal Pro JPX 923. My camera shut off before, so we didn't get to see a lot of the final shots, but I'm going to just be honest. This may end up in the bag. That's how good these irons are. They were flying off. I was able to manipulate it, draw, fade, everything between about 175 to 190. Some of them carried about 193, 194, which unbelievably impressive. So we're gonna go home. We're gonna look at the numbers and then kind of give you all three lines of who they're good for, why to use them. But if you're good, if you're a handicap golfer that's below 8, these may go in the bag because they come off that pure and their forgivability is very good. Also, they don't look too bad either. So other than that, we're gonna go look at the analytics and we will stay tuned. Talk to you soon. All right, welcome back. This is your host, Mikey T, Amateur Hour Golf. We are done with the JPX Hot Metal 923s. Went through all the series. We went through the standard. We went through the high loft as well as the pros. And now we are going to break everything down. And this is important because you have to understand as an amateur player. So when pros break this down, they're not going to get a lot of mishits. When you're watching, other people swing and other pros swing, you're actually just watching them consistently hit good shots because they're good. For the amateur players that are higher handicapped, it's gonna help you when I can actually tell you kind of the reaction off of the club when it's a bad mishit. And in the video you saw, I left it up on purpose because in reality you're probably gonna get as bad as mishits or maybe worse or slightly better. And you can tell it's not as a reactive response. It stays in play. These clubs are good. I'm going to outright say it. Before I even get into the data, all three of them you can put in the bag. They are that good. I don't say that about many clubs when I do any test or anything like that, but everything about all three of these clubs are fantastic. And we're going to break down the standards first. That is the normal JPX 923 Hot Metal. That is going to be not the high loft, not the pro. This is going to be the normal standard one. And what I did always do is first, and this is how you get the most consistent results, is we have to go over club speed consistency. We always want it 1 or under. There's a reason for this because I can literally, I can finagle the statistics. If I'm swinging at 95 miles per hour, 93, you want it at your normal club speed. For me, this is all in one standard deviation of how I swing. That's going to be the most important thing from I'm a math guy. So for me, making sure that makes sense. I also took in the accountability if I saw a miss hit or a bad shot. I also took it out. We're going to talk about the miss hits after, though. But I did take them out so you can see the raw data of some of the, I would say, the consistencies on ball speed and some of the non-consistencies. So as we're going through this, the one thing that was pretty good, I went through, speed one, speed is one, and I eliminated some. Speed two are off the, what's it called, the ball speed itself, and I eliminated some. Some, were out of consistency. Some were out of the standard deviation for speed in miles per hour. Then I went to smash factor, and I'm gonna say there were not many I didn't hit well. This is what I'm taking away from the hot metal, the standards. I really hit these clubs very well. I mean, and here's the thing, like, I know for a fact, and I call it out in the video, I know for a fact I didn't catch a lot of these center. Some of them I did catch center. I had a 1.47. That is a driver. That is what I hit. That's what I smash factor my driver, for God's sakes. So that is what I'm taking. That shot out 205. And this is the more impressive part. This is the insanity of these clubs. That's why I'm saying how good these clubs are. I have hit basically every iron for 2022. I have never seen my normal swing at an 89.6 club speed come off and fire that hard before. Meaning, that's the club doing the work. I carried 195 basically on a pretty much out of all of these. This would be almost midway, right at that normal swing, right at that perfect standard deviation. Meaning that this thing just exploded. There's no other really just thing to say. That is unbelievable to me. And then you have 1.44, 1.43. So for me, these balls are just exploding off of the club face, and they're not even hitting center. They're not hitting center. Some of them I did catch center. Some of them I didn't. I call it out during the video. And then even the launch angle. So some of these I was looking at. I saw a 14.6. Even on a low shot, the spin rate held at 48.50. To me, that's even more impressive. This speaks a lot to the club and the manufacturer, because look below. This is about 12 feet higher, and yet it's only maybe 180 difference. It's doing quick 180 difference off the top of my head. That's amazing. I mean, for me, the launch angle is only 4/10 higher, but even with its being 2.4 higher over here, not a significant difference, 16.6. So the whole point being is that these irons can save a lot of strokes in your game. They're consistent. They're good in your hand, meaning you test them. You definitely test them. So the average carry rate for me was around, let me get that out of the way. The average was about 187.4. And that is a little high for me, which speaks a lot about the clubs. I kept the consistency good. The ball speed standard deviation was 2.2. We had 300ths on the smash factor. Launch angle 1.3, not bad. I would like to keep that between under 1.1 again. This is actually the most impressive part. I thought the spin on a lot of these, because I did thin a lot of these. The spin kept within 400 RPMs, and then the distance just, I have no other words to say it. That number, this right here, that's what I think about the club. It's a 10 out of 10 personally. This I would say would be my front runner to end up in my bag. That's how I felt about this club. And we are going to go over next to the high loft, the JPL, and I put a half, and this is going to be the pro, because I tried putting pro into the computer, and they didn't have it set up in the TrackMan as JPX 923, and I tried putting it in there, like, no, it's not working. So awesome. So we go to the high launch. So cool thing about this is that for me, it carried less. It was, if I'm not mistaken, it carried about 4 yards less But looking at these, I looked at the club speed. I took it down to about a 0.9 consistency on standard deviation there. The ball speeds were all pretty good. 1.9, not bad on the standard deviation there. I try to keep everything to make sense. The launch angle. Now, this comes into play here. Now, the launch angle 18.7. 17.8, 17.4. We're going to go back and we're going to look 18.4, but I caught that. 14.6, 15, 15.3. 17 was on an amazing shot. The 17s were easy. I friggin' mishit 17.8. So you can immediately tell the high loft was doing its job. Did exactly what it was supposed to do. On the average launch angle was 15. I saw a 2.1 difference, which to me is fantastic. That is very impressive to the point where that club does exactly what it's supposed to do, and the numbers back it up. Did everything, took all the numbers out that didn't make sense. Going through the spin rate, some of these were actually very interesting. The 59.44, I kept that in there because it still met the parameters to stand within the 1 standard deviation on this and ball speed and the 2. And it just really spun well in the air. I know maybe the smash factor got a little under it or thinned it a bit, but it would have, for me, a 6,000 RPM, don't get me wrong, it was still 10 yards shorter or 8 yards shorter than this, but to be able to still put it out that distance speaks a lot about the club. It's about the manufacturer. Looking at this, the smash factors are still pretty good. 1.4, 1.41, 1.42. Now, I did notice on this, the smash factors were lower, and I was hitting these pretty hard. But you have to understand, when you have more launch, you're probably going to lose some distance, and I was expecting that. And I did lose about 4 yards of distance, if I'm mistaken, it was about 187.4 to 183. So about 4 yards of distance on carry. I was expecting that, though. So is it really losing that much yardage? Not really. But I will say this. It's definitely going to... If you are a player that cannot get the ball up, I was laughing in the video. There was one shot I was jokingly hitting, and I compressed the living daylights. It just shot up, and I sat there. I took the shot off because it would have thrown all these numbers off. But you can definitely tell that it's at 31 degrees. The other ones are at 28. It's a 3-degree difference, and it's showing by the numbers. The numbers match. Total good. The landing angle, I added this because in reality, this is what the clubs are designed for. The landing angles are supposed to be how they're coming in, and this is going to be the major difference. I saw this. I sat there. I'm like, knowing that these are gonna have a high launch. The landing angle at 45 degrees. Think about a 90-degree angle. You're coming in slightly over that 45-degree angle. If you're coming in at 45 degrees, you're going to get a good checkup. If you anything over that 45-degree angle in math, you're going to come more slightly down, so it doesn't have to go forward and check. It'll just come back and check. So that's what these clubs are going to end up doing. It's just simple geometry, people. Even though I'm a math and statistician, that's just simple geometry. So think about that 45-degree angle on a 90-degree angle, and this imagine a ball coming in slightly above half, and then it's slightly coming down, and you're going to be able to check more shots up. So it's going to be better for those type of shots around the green. I want to go to the final one, the pros. The pros, I did the same thing. The pros, I was actually getting these landing angles pretty good. I was shocked by that. We're going to go talk about that. But again, I set everything to 1 standard deviant for my club speed on these clubs. I was swinging these a lot slower, and I was getting great ball. I was getting good distance for not hitting the ball that far or not really trying to swing that hard. The one thing I saw here that I was getting a good, for the pros, I was getting higher launch angles than the HLs. Now, I don't know if I was just catching them well or if I was just really just compressing the daylights out of them, but the launch angle, I was getting these to go pretty high right off the bat. And for me, it speaks, again, a lot about the clubs. Now, the interesting aspect of this is what I wasn't hitting these that well comparatively to the HLs and the standards. The standard ones, I was just lighting those up. I wasn't hitting these that well. Now, me saying that, these clubs are probably for your lower handicap players. Now, if you are like a 6 or a 7 or 6 or somewhere in the lower handicaps, I'm going to be very straightforward with you. You need to put these in your friggin' bag. They are that good. And they're going to have the Tour Edition. Maybe you don't put them in the bag, and maybe you try the Tour Edition when they come out in February. But for now, these clubs are very good. Just looking at the numbers, I put the landing angle here because I took one shot with these just to test it out, and I saw 52 too. And that's really getting the ball to check up. But the cool thing was I wasn't swinging any harder. The average, I was 88.3 and I was 88 here. So basically, same exact swing speed. Ball speed, they were coming off harder up here and barely up here, yet I was getting good distance. I was actually liking this distance more, even though I was getting more distance up here, I was getting more shape. I was being able to shape the ball with the pros exactly how I would want to do it on the course. I was able to shoot them out right. I was able to fade them out, shoot them out right, curve them back left, fade them out, left, back out to right. For me, it was I hitting the center of the face? And this tells the story. So you go down here, carry 175, 175, 176. These are all consistent. And tell you the truth, these are all good numbers. For me, fantastic. Those are perfect. Am I hitting the center of the club face on all of them? Slight, maybe a millimeter or two to the right, maybe because I started drawing my shots. But then I caught one flush. And when you do catch them flush, everything shoots up, and the miles per hour were not that much higher than what I was swinging. I didn't even get it to 90. That thing exploded. So that's what I mean when a good ball is struck by a better player. You get a good. Not only do you get the distance, but you get the maneuverability. I think for a better player, they're going to like these because you can maneuver the ball exactly how you want them to. I think slightly better than the standard, even though I was able to manipulate the standards pretty well. Sometimes they overdrew. At this one, they drew and they faded exactly the way I wanted them to. So even though I lost distance, I would probably have another competition between the pros and then the standards, because for me, I don't need the HL help. I can get them up. This club on the launch angle was getting really high, so I was very impressed with that for a thinner blade or a thinner club blade. I was happy with the result out of any of these clubs, even though I was carrying the average of 177.3, and that is 6 yards shorter than the HLs, and I think it was 10 yards shorter than the standards. I felt I was able to manipulate the ball a lot better with the pros, as you would want to. And for me, I took out a lot of the inconsistencies, and then, the apex shots, all of these did exactly, they got up high. I was actually very shocked that I was able to get these as high as the HLs, if not higher. So, final verdict for me, you could put any of these into the bag. The HLs, they're much easier to hit. They're 100% much easier. They're very forgivable. The standards are much more forgivable. These are the numbers. So, like I said, whenever you go through a test, the first number that you need to adjust is going to be your club head speed. Because for me, the second you get anything over 1, it becomes inconsistent. Unless you have some crazy swing that you have, it just doesn't make sense. You want it within 1. Maybe this is a little high. I don't like that, but the best I can do here, 1.4 is good. So these numbers all make sense. 2 100ths off. These numbers make sense for me. I highly suggest everybody here that is an amateur to understand that when I hit comparatively to a pro is going to be able to put these numbers, this one right here, they're going to be able to do that every single time. If you go watch Rick Shields, if you go watch a lot of these pros on YouTube, yeah, they're going to give you numbers. They're going to give you the pro numbers. Those guys don't miss. Those guys are really good. For me, I'm giving you, when you miss hit it, basically, I'm going to tell you exactly that's a miss hit and what it's doing in the sheet in the videos. So you're going to get a more realistic view from my videos than some of you guys that are ball strikers. You probably should go to somebody like Rick Shields or something like that. You should go to somebody that makes sense. For me, I can make sense of all these numbers as well as make sense of what a miss hit is going to look for you. When it comes to ball striking maneuverability and feel, I can give you the feel. The maneuverability, I would still go to Rick. I would go to somebody else, much higher level, because they can maneuver the ball at will and they can play those high level irons. For me, I can play the JPX standards and probably it's going to be a good chance those are going to go in my bag. Those amateur type irons, I can give much stronger data samples than mostly anybody on here because first, I know numbers. Second, I'm an amateur. Third, I miss hit the ball. Those guys are not mishitting the ball. Rick is really good. Even the guys are good. Those guys are good. They're freaking natural golfers. So I hope you take the numbers here. Take the numbers, make sense of them. I like these. For me, I felt the best on these because of where and how forgivable. These were very forgiving. I think comparatively to the HLs, I would say this is forgiving. You lose a little distance, and then you go down to the pros, and you lose, I would say, distance, but you can do anything with. You can literally do anything with that. I was like, I'm gonna hit a draw shot, and I'm gonna hit a draw shot, not as much, and it just stayed the line. I'm gonna hit a fade shot, stayed the line of a fade. I sat there, I'm like, these are. I actually called my buddy after. He's a scratch golfer. And I actually called my swing coach and I asked him, I'm like, you should play, he's a Titleist guy. But, for me to give that type of objective data and being able to look at these numbers, I will say Mizuno has come out with another, I don't know how you beat your last clubs, but they did. These irons are good. I saw a lot of people in other channels saying they wanted a good estimate, a 923 versus like the 925 or the 921s, and we can do that. But for right now, take this with an amateur eye set. The pros are going to be good for somebody that's a great ball striker, who can maneuver the ball, who wants to be able to do things on certain shots with spin. If you want to just basically be able to have good consistent shots. And you are probably like a 7 or maybe 7 to like 14, 7 to 13, get the standards. If you are struggling in the same area, if you just want to be able to get higher shots, get the HLs. They come off much easier. You don't have to compress as much. So that's my final analysis. I hope the numbers make sense to you. And feel free, if you don't understand anything and you need me to explain something, or if I'm just talking really fast, and I may have missaid something, first off, subscribe to the channel. Second, let me know your question. For me, since I've hit these now, I've hit all of them, I will respond accordingly. If you want to privately DM me, or if you want to have the conversation of feel and just what I saw personally after hitting them and what the actually, after swing was, the process of actually going through the ball, they did feel a little different from going from the standard HLs to the pros. A lot different. But when you hit the center of that ball, whew, it's just butter. So, this is Amateur Hour Golf out. Again, subscribe. I try to help all the amateurs out there. Try to help even the better ones out there. I tell you to go to better channels. I tell you to go to more pro channels just for the fact that I'm going to be able to help the amateurs a lot more than I will be able to help the good shots. But it's still testing. The good thing I can help the pros out is I can still give you logistics here. So other than that, again, thank you for tuning into my channel, my video, and I hope everybody has a great Sunday, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good one.